In this tutorial, I will tell you about the HTML elements. So just like you add blocks to a page, you can add HTML elements to certain items like this section or let's say a div. So these elements are native HTML elements like a link or a button, or sometimes they are elements which are provided by the Twitter Bootstrap framework like this accordion or this alert or this card. So I will go over these one by one and tell you how you can use them to make your website. So let's start with our first item. It's called an accordion and it is provided by the Twitter Bootstrap framework. So when I add an accordion, now I have to add accordion items inside it. So when I click an accordion item, it adds a button like this and I can add as many items, accordion items into this accordion as I like. And inside the item now I can add HTML elements, right? So let's say this is accordion item number one and this is an empty, the accordion is right now empty, so I will add a paragraph and I can add an image. You can add any HTML element. You can even add an accordion inside this item if you want. We mostly you will add a paragraph, image or a video, and same you can add, you can do for this one. So I'll choose the second item. I'll add a paragraph to it, and so I have added an image. And if I go to the instant preview, you'll see that all these accordion is now working. But there is one thing is that all the items were collapsed by default. So if you want some particular item to be open when you first load the page, you can just toggle this expand item by default. And when I go to the instant preview again, you'll see that the first item is automatically open. So the accordion is a great way if you have a lot of information to show on a page, like a frequently asked questions section or some knowledge base, and it is provided default by the Bootstrap framework. The next item is the alert. This is also a Twitter Bootstrap element. So when you click and when you put an alert, you can now type the text and you can remove this cross which closes the alert. And there are like 4 type of alerts that Twitter Bootstrap provides. So you can choose from one of them. Next is your HTML link. This is quite self-explanatory. This just adds a ahref link to your page. And this is also an HTML button. So this is also, I leave it up to you. But on the button you have this text. This is what the text would be on mobile. So to make it easier, since these buttons, if you want a different text on the mobile phone, then you can say mobile label, and this is what it will show on the when you go to the mobile on the mobile side. There are different sizes, like you can select like or from all the sizes. And then you have this option that how you want to render this button. So you can render it as a button tag, or you can render it as a tag. That is also possible. So, and when you render it as a tag, as a link basically, so then you have the option to put some URL here. So you can put a Gmail or some ad, and at the bottom you can also add a font or some icon. So let's say I want to add a check mark, so I'll just type check and then I select this, and then it puts a check mark. I have the option to put it on the left or the right, and that's it. So you have all these styles. You can like there are like, I don't know, around 50-100 styles to the button. Some of them are provided by Bootstrap, some of them are some of them I've added myself. But you, depending on how upon your site, you can like select a style for your button from here. The next item on our list is the Bootstrap card and the card group. So Bootstrap cards are provide a flexible and extensible content container. So this is a element which is directly provided by the Bootstrap framework, and card helps you create something like this on your websites. So it's very easy to add a card. Just go here and then you add a paragraph, and it will then create a card like this. And you can even add an image to your card. So you just go here and you can just paste a link. When you have more than one card, but Bootstrap gives you a way to arrange your card. So for that, we have a card group. So a card group is basically something which has a lot of cards inside it. So I can just like move this card inside the group. So I can add multiple cards. So putting them in a card group groups them nicely like this. You can also enable this masonry option. So this would render the cards like Google Images when they are of unequal heights. The next item on our list is the carousel. So this is also provided by Bootstrap. There are some options to show the arrows or the indicators. And inside a carousel, you put a slide. And so inside this slide, you either upload this image, and then you can put some text like this. And this is the amount of delay, and it is in milliseconds. So let's say you want this slide to stay for 10 seconds, so you would enter a value of 10,000. And you also have this option to lazy load images. So what this means that is that the images inside our slide, they won't load till this carousel is in view of the user area. So this helps to increase your website speed and reduce the bandwidth. And when you enable this slide indicators, it will show these small indicators. This carousel is automatically provided by the Bootstrap framework. So all the JavaScript and everything is included with it. Next is our code block. So this is useful if you want to show some HTML code on your site. So you just go and you just type your HTML code here like this. So if you are creating some sort of documentation or some API page, so this is a great way to show formatted code on your final page. And you have all these options like how you wish to format it. So this is HTML code, so obviously it's not working, but you have these options to like show uh, different kind of code on your page. And it also has a syntax checking. So let's say if you make an error in your code, it will show you here that whatever is missing, whatever is wrong with your code. Next item is a collapse. So this is also a Bootstrap element. And what it does is toggle the visibility of content across your project. So I will show you a demo of how to use this. So first I'll add a collapse, and then inside this collapse, I will add a paragraph. And there's this option show contents by default. So collapse itself wouldn't work. So this collapse, you need one more element to make it work. So toggle this collapse on or off, you have to add a toggle button like this. And then the toggle type is either collapse or off canvas. So let's say I have this toggle button, and then when I click it, and then you have to select the target for this toggle button. So I'll select like collapse one, and when I click this button, you will see that the collapse is either opens or closes when I click this button. So let's say if we want to make a custom accordion or something like that, this is provided by Bootstrap, and this is often you may have seen this button to collapse the navigation bar. So the next feature on our list is a comparison. So say you have a SaaS website and you have like three different plans like Power Business or a free plan, and you want to show the differences to the user on what features they will get in each and every different plan. So for that you add a compare element, and inside this you can add comparison plans. Like the first plan can be a free plan, and it obviously is for $0. And I can just say it goes to the free, and it says free sign up. Okay. And now I have another plan. Let's say I have another plan. It's called the power plan, and it's for maybe say $10 a month. And you have a blurb like it says, you can say it's popular, and then it goes to this link and it says buy now. Okay. And now we have to add features, and these features are common across all plans, and we'll just add some example features like say number of exports and priority support, or of depending, this would obviously depend on the product. So let's say feature number 3, whatever it is. And then you go inside each and every plan, and then you select like number of exports, since you can say 10, and priority support you don't have in a free plan, so you will like select this. But in a power plan, which is a paid plan, you have like 10,000 exports, and you obviously give them priority support, and you also give them this feature number 3. And when you export it, you will see that this is how it is rendered, and it is also very mobile friendly. So if you go to this mobile preview, the way the comparison table, it changes automatically, and the buttons are now on the top and the bottom, and there they go to the links that you entered. So this is a nice way to create your pricing page or some comparison you wish to put on the page. The next element is the countdown element. So this is very useful if you are running a sale, or if you have some event coming up. So when you add a countdown, You first have to select the end date. Is like the date on which the countdown will end. So let's say I select this date. Now I will select what I want to include in the countdown. Let's say I want to include the days, hours, minutes, and seconds. So there are 2 days and 15 hours till this date. And when you put a never-ending countdown, when it reaches 00, then it will start counting up. So that is that can be useful. And you have many different styles you can choose. So this is one style in which you get this flipping sort of effect, but there's a very other simple style like this, or you have this other style. So this is very useful if you have a sale page, or if you have some sort of if you have some sort of event coming up. The next item is div. So this is self-explanatory. This it's very. I'll just quickly tell you about one or two things about this div. Let's say we have these cards. Okay. Let's say I have like 5 different cards inside a div. So there are some ready-made styles for the div, for this div. First is called the flex row. So when I use this row, it uses a flex box. It adds these classes to the flex. If you know a little bit about Flexbox, so Bootstrap has some very good documentation about how the Flexbox works, and there is this also very nice site called a Flexbox Froggy. So this can help you understand how the how the Flexbox works. So first is our row, then is the column in which all these are under each other. Then is the responsive Flexbox. So what happens is on the desktop, it is like in a row, but when you go on a mobile, it becomes like vertical. So this is a responsive. Then there's this Bootstrap container which makes sure that your content always looks good on large screens. This is, and inside your div you can add any elements including the div itself. The next element is a drop down. So this is also a ready-made Bootstrap element. It is inside the SDK. So it gives you overlays for displaying list of links. So so you'll say drop down button, and then you can add as many links, like you can say link number 1, and then you have this link. Okay, and then you can just like duplicate this. You can press Ctrl D to duplicate any item anywhere, and then when you click this, you will see these sort of links. And you also have this option, like you can render this drop down as a button, as a link, or as a navigation item link. This is useful if you are using this inside a navigation bar. And if you click this, it will still act as a drop down, but it will hide the toggle for it. This next item, this is neither a Bootstrap element or HTML element, but it is a very often used item on many websites. So it is called an exit pop-up. And what happens is, like on some websites, when you take the mouse cursor outside of the page, there is this pop-up which gives you some incentive to stay on the website. So this will help you create that pop-up. So let's say I have this large pop-up, and inside this I have some text. So I'll just add a paragraph inside my pop-up, and then I can say, please don't leave. I personally am not a fan of this item, but a lot of people like to use it, so I have this here. So by default, you will not see this on the page. So I'll just add a heading just to add something to the page. And now I'll go to the instant preview. And as you can see, that exit pop-up is not visible, but if I try to leave the site, then it shows this pop-up. And maybe you can add like a button to it or some link to it, like to resume, or maybe you can add a form. So this is how the exit pop-up works. So the next item on our list is the FAQ. It is a very common, you find this very on almost all the websites right now nowadays. So it's very simple. You just enter your questions here, and then you add an answer here. Okay, so you can add as many as you want. And there are some two styles. This is the Bootstrap style, and this is the accordion style. So you can also use a Bootstrap accordion and do this, or you can just use a FAQ. And this makes it easy because you don't have to add more accordion items, and it saves you some time. And it also gives you the option to like change the style very easily for your FAQ. Okay, the next item is our features. So this is a very useful item. Whenever you want to see show some features of your product or service. So and you find it almost on all the websites. So you just type you. It's very easy to add features using this. So you just type like feature one, and then you add some description. And then if you want to link like view more details of the feature, and then you can just link it like this, and then just press Control D, and now we have just duplicated our feature like this. And you can add as many features as you want. I'll just duplicate it one more time. Right now we are using this zigzag format, but there are many ways to show your features. So the other one is a heading. So I'll just put some random images here, and this will now turn your features into big headings. And you can use this cards format in which your features are now turned into this card type of. And then this is the carousel way of showing your features. Then there's this way in which your features are turned into small icons. And then there's this option. This is called the features list. So in this, your features are turned into this sort of list. There are like many different styles. I think the best style according to me is that zigzag style. And if you want, you can also change the color of the row, alternating rows. So instead of like that color, you can select it from here, and you can also control the how big the text is. Like if I say 100, if I say 20%, 30%, then the size of this text is very small and the image is bigger. On the other hand, if I change it to 70%, then the text is much bigger and the image is smaller compared to that. And obviously you have these classes to decide. Like you can, like if you want to change this button, you will go to the button class, and you can just change it from button primary to button link, and now it will turn it into a link. Or you can say, you can like use any bootstrap class, button class, and it will automatically change the feature. Same for the media. Like if you don't want the shadow, so you can just say shadow none, and it will remove the shadow. So our next item is the form, HTML form. This you will use to collect emails or maybe collect some sort of data. So this is the action URL where you want form data to go. The method post. This is the target, and there are some inbuilt integrations I'm also working on. So what will happen is like if you say save response, so it will automatically like put the form response into all these services which will directly integrate with Bootstrap site. And then inside the form, you have these two options. You can either add an input or you can add a button. So I'll first add an input. And when you add an input, you have these options that is it a text input, number, email, URL. Let's say it's a text area. So this is a little bigger input. I'll just say enter some text below, and you the name of the input, like I can just say data, and this is the size like I want. And you can even make it a required field, so that when the user will press the submit button, it will, if this is empty, the browser will tell the user to fill the data here. And this is the placeholder, like you can say data goes here. So when you go to the instant preview, placeholder text here, and then you can also add an icon. So this way it shows that this is a email field, and you can have the icon on the left like this or on the right. And you can have all sorts of, like you can have all these type of buttons, and finally you add a button at the bottom. So this, and then you select it as submit. Whenever someone clicks this button, it will submit the form, and you can just say submit. And then one more thing, like all these are stuck together. You can go this style and you can say inline form, and then it will put all but all the fields in one row. Or you can say flex column, in which it will put them one under the other. And then you can go to these individual items and you can add some padding like I showed you in the other tutorial. So if this is margin bottom 4, or you can add padding from here using the style tab and margin and paddings. Our next item is the gallery item. So this is very useful if you want to show a lot of images on your page. So you just you add the gallery item, and then you can add some random images. Like I'll add this image, and I can just say. And the reason that why you would use a gallery instead of not using like a bootstrap card is that when you add this gallery item, it automatically enables this lightbox pop-up called the magnific pop-up. And when if I go to this instant preview, And if I click on any item, then you can see this shows in this sort of gallery, and you can like click these arrows, and you can like it makes it possible to view this inside the page in a very nice way like this. And you can add as many items as you want. The next item is a heading. This is quite self-explanatory, but I'll show you one thing about this. Like, let's say I have this heading, and I bold some text inside this heading. So now where you can choose what type of heading it is, like H1 or H3. I'll just use H1 tag for now. And when you go into the styles, there are some styles using which this bold part of the heading, it changes into this. So like if I apply this different type of styles to it, you'll see that I can like change this underline color, and it can like look very nice. And this is the bold part, and this can be very useful to highlight some part of the heading. The other thing about heading is that you can also add gradient text to it. So let's say I want to add a gradient, so I'll just go and I can here, and then I can just like select this select some gradient like this, and like whatever gradient you like. And one more thing about heading is like I can also animate part of the headings. Like if I go and if I add this special typing effect, I can save this, and now it will create this special typing effect on my heading. So this is used on many websites, and you can also use it on your website too now. There are a lot of different effects. There are more animations, like you can also say important to 10 times. Okay, and now I can also animate this 10. I'll go and I'll add a counter to this. So I say let's say important from 1 to 10, and then I'll just say set the speed, and then I'll say when I play this, so this also animates. So now we have two animations on our heading, and you can add as many animations as you want. Next item is HTML code, which is very similar to the code element, and this is the icon. This is also a very self-explanatory. The image is also very simple. It just adds an image to the page. This I have already showed you when we were adding a form. This is your simple HTML link. Now let's go to this list item. This is a simple HTML list with some Bootstrap styles. So you can add as many items as you want, like this. And I'll just press Control D a few times to repeat this. And this you have like many different ways of rendering your list. So you can like render it horizontally, or using these check marks, or using like this. You can even add badges to your list. Like if you want to say like this item has some badge like 5, and this will help you to change your list. Like this will turn this list into div, or this will render it as a UL tag. So and if I toggle this on, now I can even link these items. Like I can like link it to say link 1. So the next item is logos. These are basically you see these on many websites. These are basically logos for Product Hunt, TechCrunch, etc. So you just like add this item, and you just replace the logos with the logos of the site you are featured on. The next item is media cover. Like say I want to put this photo inside a MacBook. So I'll just select media cover. Then I'll put the photo. I can even add a video. That's fine too. Like I can add a YouTube video or something like that. That is totally fine. And then I can also link it to some say free trial. And if I turn this scroll option here, then it will start scrolling this image inside that media element. And I can just like change this. If I want to change this MacBook into a monitor, then I'll just click this. Or I can just like change it into a Polaroid, or a tablet, or a mobile phone. And then using this option here, like you want to create a nice effect, so I can just say 3 number of items, and it will now show like 3 different sort of item, and I can like change it however I like. Okay, so this is a media cover. It's very useful. It's used on a lot of websites, and it's very easy to put your photos inside some display option. The next option we have is a navigation bar. This is a nav element, but most of the time this would go inside a navigation bar. So we'll start with this. Okay, so this is a navbar. Inside this, you can have all these elements. So generally, there's a image or logo of your company. So this is would be the navbar brand, and here you would upload the logo of your site, and it would be like this. After this navbar, you will have this toggle element. The reason for adding this instead of using this is that you want this navbar to be mobile friendly. So for then we'll add this toggle button, and then we will add this collapse button, and we will change this toggle to navbar toggler, because we want this enables this special setting, a navbar toggler, which makes sure that your this would be useful for the navbar. Then same thing for the collapse, we will make sure that it's not a regular collapse but a navigation bar collapse. And then inside this collapse, now we will add a nav element, and inside this we can add some links. So let's say it's link 1, and I'll just duplicate it. I'll say link 2, and I'll say link 3. And when I go into the mobile, this will automatically turn it into a mobile friendly navigation bar. The next item on our list, this is called an off canvas. I think this was recently added to Bootstrap, and I will show you what it does. Basically, you have to add HTML elements inside this off canvas. Okay, and I'll add a header. I'll just say off canvas header. And this element doesn't work by itself. For that, you also have to add a toggle button. So I'll add a toggle button, and then what I'll do is I will link this toggle button to my off canvas like this. And when I click this toggle button, you'll see that this off canvas element, it slides from the left and it shows like this. And even if I go to my instant preview and I click this button, you will see that this off canvas element has been added to our page. Paragraph also is pretty self-explanatory. So let's go to pricing. This is a simpler version of the comparison plan. Let's say you have, like, you don't want to show comparison, but if just want to add some pricing to your page, so you will go and you will add a pricing like this. It is much simpler, and you can have different features in all the plans compared to the comparison plan, in which you compare features. In this, you can type different features per plan. So I'll say, like, free plan is for $0 month, and then I'll say free plan feature, and I'll just repeat this few times, and then I can add a link. I'll say free sign up, and now I'll just duplicate this. I'll press Control D, and now I have this paid plan, and this would be obviously for some price. And then you can say, and then you will change the button, and you will say buy now. And now you have, like, has like a lot of styles you can choose from. Like, there are almost like 50 different styles to choose from, and most of them are very mobile friendly, so you can be sure that it will also look good on a mobile phone. And there are, like, lots and lots of styles you can choose from. And the best part is you don't have to re-enter this data whenever. You can choose, like, from different styles. So this is how it works. You can create as many, like, if you want, you can create one more plan, say power plan, and it's like, you can add as many plans as you want. So the next item on our list is Bootstrap row. And this basically helps you create rows and columns as defined in the Bootstrap grid. And this makes it very easy to create layouts like this. And basically what it says is that you can have, like, 12 columns inside a row, and you decide, like, how many columns would be there depending on the device on which your website is showing. So it is very difficult to explain how the Bootstrap grid works in this one. But if you go to YouTube, you will see that there are many great tutorials about how the grid and rows work. And learn this. It can be very useful to create some very good responsive layouts for your website. So basically, if you add a row, then you add columns, and inside columns, you can have more HTML elements. And let's say I have added this column, and inside this, I have a paragraph, and then I'll just duplicate this column. So now we have two columns in this row. And when you go to column and you go to column settings, then you can specify that how many columns it should show on a mobile phone, and how many it should show on a desktop. So let's say I change this to 8, and in this column I change this to 4. So this will mean that this column is 8 by 12 and basically 3/4, and this is basically 1/4. And if you want to learn more, then I definitely recommend checking these YouTube tutorials about the how the Bootstrap grid works. The next item on our list is a section element. This is just like a div. It's only been renamed so that it makes it easier for you to visualize the hierarchy. But the div and the section, they are both same elements. Next is the site search. So when you add this, what happens is it creates an inline website search, and it is very useful if you are creating a CMS or if you are creating a knowledge base, and it gives you an inline search. So let's say I have two pages on this website. Let's add one more page. I'll add a blank page. I'll just say blank. I'll just say info. And on this page, I will add this. Just add a simple block with a heading and a paragraph. And in this I will add a keyword. I'll just say my keyword. Okay. And uh, and then I will go back and I'll also add a heading under this section. So this will basically add a inbuilt site search. So it will show the link to this paragraph in the drop down. So this is very useful if you want to have a inline site search for your pages. Next item is the steps. So this is useful if you have like if you want to explain how something was in a few steps. So you would say step one, then you would say step one description, and you can even add a button, and then you can have like step two, and then you can like choose from different styles like this. You can even put these steps in a carousel, or you can have them like this. So it's very useful if you want to describe some process in some steps. The next item on our page is the table. So this is also very self-explanatory. You have like you first specify the number of columns. Like I have 3 columns, and then I can just add data. So I can say column one, and I'll just duplicate this. And now we have a table. And if I select this option here, then it will turn this into this. And if I want to add more columns, then I can just like increase the columns from here. The next item on our list is the tabs, Bootstrap tabs. So this is also an inbuilt item. First, you add a tab element, then inside each element, you add this tab item. So, and inside the tab item, you can add anything that you want. You can even add a tab inside a tab item. That is also possible. But I'll just add a paragraph, and this is my first tab. So I'll just say tab number one, and then I'll just duplicate it. I have now 3 tabs on the tab list, and when I go to the instant preview, then I can like select all these different tabs. So it is a very good way if you want to show a lot of data in a limited space. And as always, you can select from many different styles. So this is one style. You can like select this or like this. The next item on our list is the team. So this is also very self-explanatory. If you want to show off your team, so you will just add their photos. You will type their name, their title, and their job description. And maybe if they have a social link, so you'll maybe have these links, and then you can just I'll just duplicate it. So and you can even use it for maybe some different purpose, like showing off your products. It doesn't have to be team, but there are also a lot of styles you can choose from, like this or like this. The next item on our list is testimonials. So almost every site these days has a lot of testimonials. So you just like testimonial text here. Then you add a photo of the person who's giving the testimonial. Then you add their name and maybe some website. And you can just like duplicate this, and you have and the testimonials like pricing, they come with a lot of styles. So you can like select a different style, whatever is best for your page. There are almost like 50 different styles you can choose from. and you don't have to type the data again and again. You can choose like a different style. And apart from these styles, there's also this option to show them in a carousel. So you just select this, and now these testimonials are in a carousel format. It's very popular on some sites, and you can like show these arrows or these indicators here. The next item on our list is a timeline. So this is a very useful item if you want to show something, some events, like when you started your company and or something like that. So you just like enter a title, then the description. So I'll just add a photo of a cat and the date of the event, and then I'll just duplicate this. So this is a very useful way to show some timeline. As always, there are a lot of ready-made styles you can choose from to show these events. It can be a very useful addition to your About Us page also. So the next item on our list would be the toggle switch. This is similar to the Bootstrap toggle with one big difference. Let's say you have two different pricing on your page. Okay? Like you have two different like monthly and yearly. This is a little advanced element than the rest of them, but it is quite useful. So let's say you have a pricing table on your page, and you want to toggle between the monthly and the yearly pricing. The toggle is at monthly, then what will happen is that this will toggle this class, which is basically the visibility class of that element. So let's say I will set the target class to monthly for this one. Oh, sorry, this would be monthly, this would be yearly, and I will make this default. Now what I'll do is I'll add two paragraphs. It's and then I'll just duplicate it, and I will add a class like monthly billing. Okay, and here I will add a class like yearly billing, and this I will make it by default. I will make it invisible by adding a dnone class, and I'll change the text. I'll say instead of this I'll say monthly billing, and here I'll say year. So you can see this paragraph is has monthly billing class, and this one it has yearly billing, and the toggle switch we have monthly billing for this side and yearly billing for this side. And then I'll go to export and I'll see instant preview. So as you can see, since the toggle is here, monthly billing is visible by default. Now I'll switch to yearly, and what it has done is it has hidden the monthly billing and it has started showing the yearly billing. So you can, and if I put it back, then it will again toggle the class for the first paragraph. So it's not just for, it is more useful if you had like pricing tables. So I'll just quickly give you one more demo for this. So what I'll do is I'll, instead of adding a paragraph, I will add a pricing table. Okay, and this I'll say a monthly plan, and then I'll have like $10. I can say like power plan, and this is the monthly billing. Okay, so this would be like a business plan. And what I'll do is I'll add the monthly billing class here, and then I'll duplicate this pricing table, and this time I will change it to yearly billing. So I will say it's yearly, so it is like 10 times, and this is like also 10 times. But the thing is that these features, they are now for yearly. You can have the same thing, and now I will add a yearly billing. Instead of this, I'll change it to yearly billing, and I'll also make it invisible by default. And then I'll go and I'll see the instant preview, and right now it is monthly billing, so these are by month. And when I toggle this, you can see it has changed into yearly billing because we applied the yearly billing class on this. And these buttons can also link to somewhere else. So this toggle is quite useful when you have to show when you have to make a switch based on the classes. Next item on our list is the video. So this is the, you can have like a YouTube video here, or you can have an MP4 file. So it has a bunch of MP4. So I'll just copy this link from here, and I'll just remove this, and I'll paste that MP4 link here, and we have this video. And I'll explain this. This is autoplay. So if you turn this on, and if you go to instant preview, then the video will start playing by itself. This is the lazy loading. So what happens is this video won't load until this video is in view. This is another option, play on scroll. So what happens is that it will, as soon as it is like autoplay, but the difference is that it will not autoplay until the user has scrolled to this particular video. This will show or hide the controls. This will make the video loop. This option is very important, that what happens on mobile devices is that you can't play a video automatically unless it is muted. So you have to turn this on. These two options are for the mobile, and this will add like this button for the mobile. So when you go to instant preview, it will add this, and when you click this button, if there was sound in this, so it will start playing with that. And then you can select the aspect ratio of the video. This is also using the Bootstrap classes. You can specify the width and height here.